So if I'm going to look at to trade this currency, I need to be able to have a really strong conviction that this is not going to be a reverse head and shoulder pattern, if you know what I mean, right? So I'll go to the 1 hour chart because this is where I wanted to execute my trade. But if you see right here, I would have executed the trade already, but the train has left me. I'm out of, I can't put a setup here anymore because this is where I would have bought or sold. This is where I would have shorted this. If I did, it would have gone uh, about 14 pips if I were to short, about 12 pips if I were to short it, and then it's hitting the zone of support already. So I won't trade this. I won't get onto EURCHF. Let's look at gold. There's a high impacting news earlier, so I doubt that this is something that I could look at as a setup, and I guarantee that it's not. I don't like this price action. Um, as you can see, so I have one indicator here. This is the Rob Booker Knoxville indicator. It basically computes volume. So mostly a signal. If the volume is not as much, and there could be a possible switch in the trend. So this one tells me on the 4 hour chart that there was because of this line over here, and indeed it did switch. And like again, it's because of the news that was released earlier for US. So I'm gonna skip gold. I'm gonna go to GBP USD. So I can see this market in the 4 hour chart is ranging. It's gonna go up, up, down. So I won't really trade this. I'm not a fan of this kind of setup. I would wait for the market to break support and resistance and wait for a retest before I really get into the to a trade. So let's look at uh, USD CAD. All right. So let's move this. All right. So obviously on the USD CAD, I'm showing that it's an uptrend. Um, on the daily chart, it is showing that over the past few weeks, it is trending upward. Now I have an RSI here, which is marked at 80. If it goes up to 80, that means it's oversold or, oh, sorry, overbought. And I'm showing that it's not overbought yet on the daily chart. Let's go to the 1 hour chart. It did not show that it was overbought even in the past few hours, but judging from how this price action looks like, I'm showing a not so steep trend line here. This is all right. I'm showing a not so steep trend line here. I'm still showing a higher low. It's not as much. I'm not confident. This one's not convincing for me to even look at a setup for. Um, why? Because on a 1 hour chart, you can see there's a zone right here of support. And what happened right here was a false breakout. And it went really struggling down. And again, this is because of the news that occurred. Usually, when the news is out, that's where you can see false breakouts. I'm really not a fan of trading when there's a news, but the news was a few hours ago, so that's all right. So what am I looking at here at USD CAD, at least on a 1 hour chart? Let's go back to the Edge Finder, and those are part of the major currency pairs here. Let's look at USD CAD. If you look at the bias, it does show that it's very bullish. So I see that it is possibly buy order at least, and this one confirms it, right? Look at the GDP growth of USA, 2.4 versus 0.8 for Canada. Inflation is almost the same. It's just point 0.1 lower. But unemployment rate for Canada is, wow, 5.5% compared to a 3.5%. And interest rate is, yes, 0.5 higher than Canada. And you should see, and I guarantee you, be on Bloomberg Live, you'd see there's going to be some sort of a change on interest rate, given that this is the case, at least for Canada. I know in the US, it's not as they're looking to hold the interest rate for a while, but who knows, right? So I'm showing here that um, the bias is very bullish. So let's look at the smart money tracker for both. I could see Canada 43.34% long. A lot of them are still shorting compared to US. Uh, almost the same. There's a lot more that is taking long contracts for US. Let's look below for Canada, week on week. See, look at this, 18,000 short contracts. Here's the definition of what I'm hovering at. Week to week change. So 18,000 more, right? While in USD, not a lot of change, right? Not a lot of change. So what am I going to end up doing on a USD CAD? So I need to look for a setup, right? And when I say I need to look for a setup, I would have taken a trade here on this area right here. Why? I'll tell you why. Because this is a support, 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 support. That would have been a move that I would have done, and I would have bought this over there. And I think I will. And why don't we do that right now? Right? Let's do that right now. And let's backtest this, and let's look at how it's gonna fly on the next video. I'm gonna set up a trade, and I'll show you what I do. So if I'll put a buy order here on this price, 1.35329, and I'll put a stop loss right below structure, last structure, which is this right here. So I'll put my stop loss there, and I basically calculate the pips using a simple calculator. 1.35329, oops, again, 1.35329 minus 1.35108. So I am left with 22 pips. All right, 22 pips. And then I have this website, cashbackforex.com, that I use to compute. And in my calculator, I have 22 pips. 22 pips, and my risk is just 1.5, right? 1.5 off of a $10,000 capital. I hit calculate. I'll drop the link of this also on the description below this video, so you could have more appreciation and easier access to how you can compute your lot size. So that's 0.92, and I'm going to USD CAD here, and I'm going to execute my buy order. And right here on the lot size calculator, it says 0.92. So my volume is 0.92. And I'm going to buy at this. All right, let's copy this and go back. All right. And this for my stop loss. There you go. What I like the most in the MetaTrader is if I place a buy order, sell order, I can see that. if I hover my mouse over, I can see what my potential loss would be. And if you notice, I did not put a take profit, and that's because my strategy is I trail my stops, right? What that means is, for example, um, and I'll go back to my chart here. For example, this trade hits the price, right? And it goes up, right? And then it goes down right here. And then it goes up, and I'm still in profits, right? Goes up right there, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to move my stop loss right before that structure that it stopped to, right? So I will remove my risk, and I will, so even if the price crashes down for whatever reason and it hits my stop loss, I'll still end up at a profit. It may not be as much as I wanted it to, and I'm not all greedy and stuff, right? But that's my style of trading. I'd still end up with a profit. It's not as if I lost a profit. I'd still gain some. It's not as much, but I'd still gain some. But on the hindsight, if in case this trade goes all the way up over there, I can put my trail right below that structure once again, and so on and so forth. That's going to help me follow the trend. If it forms into a trend, then it's more profit for me. All right. So let's do a recap, right? So I pick a structure or a currency pair first that I know is trending on a specific direction. Then I go to the edge finder right here and look at the watch list scanner, look at the major currency pair overall dashboard, look at smart money, and look at retail sentiment just to make sure that I have all stars aligned before I execute the trade. And then I execute on the MetaTrader platform that I'm using. All right. All right. I hope you like this video. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. Please place a comment below if there's any topic that you wanted to talk about. If you wanted me to teach any kind of Forex related topics. Soon I will post videos as well for stocks, just for educational purposes. And for now, this is all I have for you. I've executed one trade, scanned two currency pairs, and I'll see you all on my next video. Bye.